talk about influencers. These are influencers, and they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, who's done a great job.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back live on Human Events Daily. We're very honored to have Megyn Kelly joining us.
Jack. How are you?
It's been a week. It's certainly been a week. But oddly enough, it's like I can hear Charlie's voice like in my ear sometimes, and it's just keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't worry about me.
Yes.
I'm where God wants me. I'm doing other stuff. I'm on another. Wherever Charlie is, he's working. We know that.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Just doing the show today, we talked so much about Charlie, and then we wrestled before I got here about, do we do any other news? Do we do like regular news? And I was like, there is no way Charlie would want us to skip the Jimmy Kimmel story. Like that.
No,
he'd want us to have this moment of celebration.
He'd want it, and he'd want all of it. He would. Honestly, I could even hear him saying like, okay, Jack, like take a day, fine, talk about what happened, but move on, move on. Don't sit there.
Yeah.
And that's who he was, though. It was all about what's the next thing, what's the next hill to climb, what's the next mountain we're going to conquer. And he would always be looking to do that. He would take he took Saturdays off, and it was the most aggressive day off that you could ever think of. He's like, I'm checking stocks. I'm looking at, this thing, looking at this operation, what's going on. All right, family stuff. Let's go.
How did you guys meet?
How do we meet? I think we met at a CPAC, briefly for the very first time, and we just had a mutual contact, and said, hey, Charlie, Jack, and it was like, hey, appreciate your stuff, and then you just sort of move on, and then I was at some other event, in like 16 or 17, and I remember I picked him up at the airport. Funny enough, it was an Ed Martin event.
Oh, wow.
And when he was running the Eagle Forum for Phyllis Schlafly, and he just needed a runner to go to the airport, and said, hey, can you go pick up Charlie Kirk? And it's like, oh, yeah, I met Charlie, a while back. I'll go meet him. And then, you just sort of, you're on the circuit, and then you keep bumping into each other, and then eventually you just sort of realize that you're rowing in the same direction, and you get closer, and it's that's my relationship with Charlie. It wasn't this sort of like, hey, let's go hang out and watch movies kind of, or play video games kind of relationship.
No, same. No. Same.
It's like, let's go into battle.
It's the nature of this business that there will be a bond between the people who are fighting for the same causes as you are. I feel like this is how you and I kind of became friends, like over X, after
just being out there and plugging away every day,
and just but you see somebody's character. You see what they stand for. You see what they fight for, and you can't miss what somebody actually stands for if you spend enough time online or spend time listening to them. I just saw you at Charlie's Turning Point event in July. Remember that? We saw each other backstage.
Yeah.
And we all hugged, and we had a moment, and it was so jubilant. It was such a festive atmosphere. You just would never have known this was hanging in the balance.
Yeah, when I think back, I think that was the last time I actually saw Charlie in person, was that event. Mm-hmm. And, there's certain things that when you bring them up, it's tough because, they say it comes in waves, and there are times when I'm just like, just in this past, it's been a week, I guess, where I'm totally fine, and I'm like, let's go. Hey, Antifa, finally, we've got the green light on that, which we've been gnawing on the chomping at the bit for years, and and then I'll just some song or some reference or just a certain phrase, and it's like, oh, Charlie used to always say that, and
I don't know about you, but I've been like refreshing X all the time for like news that it's not true.
Being here in the studio and where we've spent, and people, the live streams that we did here, and just we would hours and hours. Charlie was of course famous for no breaks, and you'd run to the bathroom and run back. So he would go, we'd go like 4 hours, and he's like, all right, Jack, you've got it. I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then I come back. All right, and then he would hold down, and then I would go, and but we'd never stop. And then, coming and being here every day, it's hard, but it helps you focus at the same time in a weird,
I feel like it's a
really
healing
weird
balm.
way. Like I'm kind of like, and I think my wife will understand what I mean when I say this. Like, I'm glad I'm just not sitting around at home.
Yeah, that's right.
And because when I'm here, I associate it with work and doing the work. But I'll tell you one thing. I just keep waiting for him to come through the door.
Yeah, of course. I know. Me too. I'm like, when a news story breaks, over the past 8 days, I've been like, get Charlie. You'd say that, and he'd always say yes. You could get him, as busy as he was, he'd always say yes. And you just know, like when
He
you saw,
loved you. He loved you.
It was so mutual. You knew whenever you saw Charlie Kirk lined up for the day, it was going to be a great show. It was going to be an easy show. He was such a good talker. He was so clever. He was so funny. You'd laugh. You'd hit things hard. You'd have deep philosophical conversations on whatever issue you wanted to go deep on. There was nothing he couldn't do. And I don't know, and I say this completely platonically, but I just fell in love with him. You fall in love with Charlie. To know him is to fall in love with him. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. It's like everything about him was likable and lovable. You can't say that about virtually anybody, right? It's like we all have our dark sides.
And
he didn't.
And I still keep it's like right out of the corner of my ear, and I'm just waiting because whenever Charlie would burst in, and it was a burst, it was like boom, the energy just gets ratcheted up, and he's like boom, boom, boom. Are we up? Are we live? Is this going on? Is this guest coming? Are we taking this feed? Are we on? Do we have the clips? Do you have it all? And then then you're in, and it's like you're on a rocket ship, and Charlie's driving, and we're all going to this destination, and you better buckle up because. If you're not on board, like you're gonna get washed over, and it was great.
Yeah, the first time I saw him in person was at behind the scenes at a Turning Point event, and I was like, that's his go gear? Like, I knew Charlie didn't do drugs and didn't drink alcohol or anything like that, but I'm like, if you didn't know him, you'd think he was on some sort of massive speedball because he was just, I got this and I got that and I can do this, and he knew everybody's name and he was so well organized.
He was off caffeine.
What?
He had done, I think, for at least a year he hadn't had caffeine. That cup, that's a mint tea.
Yeah, that's right. That was a
mint tea.
It's selling out right now at Starbucks across the country.
Megyn, I know you've got to run, but thank you. Just thank you for being here. Sunday?
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, I'll be there.
Much love to you, Jack. Thanks for having me.
God bless. I'm back at you.